Welcome back to Miss Burkhart's math class. Make sure you have your notes, something to write with so you can take notes as you watch the video. And remember that you need to pause the video as you're taking notes so that the video doesn't get too far ahead of what you're writing. Also, make sure you're going back and rewatching or replaying any parts that you didn't quite understand because you want to make sure you understand everything before you continue. So today, what we are going to do is continue talking about Standard 6.6a on adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing integers. And specifically today, you're going to learn how to add integers. We're going to continue with adding, but this time it will be learning how to add integers using number lines. So let's get started. Let's start, as we did before when we were adding integers using counters, let's start with adding integers that have the same sign. So 2 positives or you're adding 2 negatives. And yes, these will be the same examples that we did with the counters purposely, so you can make the connection and see how they're similar to when we use the number line. So again, we're starting with a problem you did in first grade, 2 plus 3. Remember when we did the counters, you had nothing to start with, but then we started with the first number, which was 2 positives that you see right here. And then we added, which we used to say put on 3 positives. So we did that 1, 2, 3. And we did the problem. What did we have as a result? We had 5 positives. So now let's show that with the number line. And again, you probably may remember doing this probably in first grade on the number line. Again, we're going to start at 0, right? Just like with the counters, we started with nothing on the mat first before we put the first number on. So start at 0 on the number line. Then we're going to go to the first number, just like we put on the first number with the counters. So I'm going to go to positive 2. I'm just going to draw an arrow. I'm going to put a line there just so I know that that's where I'm stopping initially. Then it says to add 3 positives. All right, so which direction do we go on the number line when we're adding positives? Well, we go towards the positive side. So when we're adding positives, we go to the right. All right, remember that? Now, do I just go to number 3? No, I don't go to 3. It says add 3. Just like I put on 3 counters, I'm now going to jump, think of it that way, jump from my 2, jump 3 spaces to the right. 1, 2, 3. And where do I land? Right here at positive 5, like you know. Now, you may not have done this exactly like this in first grade, but something similar, right, with jumps. So you went to the first number, and then you jumped how many spaces to the right for the second number, okay? So what I want you to remember is here, adding positives. When you are adding positives, second number is positive, you're going to jump to the right on the number line. Now what happens when we are adding 2 negatives? Remember what we did with the counters? We started with nothing, but then we started with the first number, which was 2 negatives, and then added, put on 3 negatives, 1, 2, 3. And what did we have as a result of doing that? 5 negatives, right? Negative 5. So how are we going to do that on the number line? Oops, negative 5. Same thing. You start at 0, start with nothing. Then you're going to go to your first number, negative 2, just like we put on the 2 negatives to start with. Then it says add negative 3. Well, which direction do we go when we're adding negatives? Well, no, it's the opposite of where we go. When we added positives, we went to the right. So adding negatives, we're going to go to the left, towards the negative. It's becoming more and more in debt, if you will. We're adding more debt. So we're becoming more and more negative. So we start here at our negative 2, and then we're going to jump 3 spaces to the left, towards the negative. 1, 2, 3. And where do we land? Right here at negative 5, just like it confirms what we did with the counters. All right? So again, when you are adding negatives, you're going to go to the left on the number line. So think of it, if you, in football, if you got from your starting point, you got pushed back 2 yards, right? And then on the next play, you got pushed back 3 more yards. So you're going back, you're going towards the negative. Now you've lost a total of 5 yards. Okay? Now I want you to try these 3. We will do this first one together just for extra practice. Again, here's your counters. You started with 2 negatives, then it said put on or add 4 more negatives, 1, 2, 3, 4. What do we have as a result? What's our answer? It is -6. Now let's do this with the number line. Yes, I know, even though you know the answer, I want you to practice with the number line. So where do we start? 0. Where are we going to go first? To the -2, just like we started with 2 negatives with the counters, right? Here's -2. Now it says add -4. Where do we go when we add negatives? Towards the negatives, right? When you're adding negatives, you go towards the negatives. Starting from here at the -2, do I just go to -4? No, that's not what it says. We're going to jump 4 spaces to the left because it's negative. 1, 2, 3, 4. And where do I land? At -6. So it just confirms. So here we did two negatives, and then we jumped 4 negatives, and we landed at -6. All right, so now you're going to pause the video and do these next 2 problems. Now, this isn't the end of the notes. So after you do those and the quiz questions pop up, keep watching because after this, we'll show you how to add numbers, integers when they have different signs. So pause the video, do these 2 problems, then press play. Okay, now I do want you to write down, what did you notice when you were adding integers that had the same sign? Either they're both positive or both negative. What did you notice about with the number line? Were you going in the same direction? How many spaces? Whatever it is, I want you to write down what you notice. Now let's look at if you're adding 2 integers with different signs. So you have a positive number and a negative number. This one we did also in the last video with just counters, 2 plus -3. So we put on the first 2 positive counters, then we put on 3 negative counters. Remember, that didn't give us 5 negatives and it didn't give us 5 positives. We have our opposites. Remember, what are those called? 0 pairs, right? How many 0 pairs did we have? 2, because there's 1. Those cancel each other out, right? And then these cancel each other out. So 2 of the negatives canceled out 2 of the positives, and what was left? 1 negative. So -1. 2 plus -3 is -1. Let's do that on the number line. Again, we're going to start at 0. Where do we go first? The first number, +2. Right? So we're going to go to +2. 2 spaces to the right. Now it says add -3. Which direction do we go when we add negatives? Towards the negatives, which means to the left. Remember, I'm going to start here at 2. I'm not going back to 0 because remember, I moved 2 spaces to the right. Now from here, it's kind of like directions. And now from here, the 2, we're going to go to the left. Do I just go to -3? Nope. I'm going to make 3 jumps. It says we're adding -3 from here. 3 jumps. 1, 2, 3. And where do I land? Where I thought, at -1, right? What we got before. Do you notice where the 0 pairs are on the number line? I know you see them here with the counters, but do you see where they are on the number line? Look right here. In this part, we had 2 0 pairs, right? Look right here. It went +2 and then back 2, -2. Now we had 1 extra negative, right? So that's what made it so it wasn't 0 and it was instead -1. Again, with football, those of you who know football, or if you don't, by the end of this video you will, the first play you gained 2 yards, but on the next play, you lost 3 yards. You got pushed back 3 yards. So here's where it canceled out, right? You gained 2, then you lost 2, but you lost 1 more. Okay? Let's try the next one. -5 plus +2. Here's our counters. Here's your -5. When you put on 2 positives, you have opposites here, so you know you have 0 pairs. Here's 1 0 pair. Here's another. Remember, they cancel each other out. You gained a yard, you lost a yard. You lost $1, you owed $1, you deposited $1. So now you're at 0. So these canceled out. What was left? -3, right? Now let's show it on the number line. Start at 0. Where are you going first? Your first number, which is -5, all the way over there. Then from here, remember, you got pushed back 5 yards, and now you're going to add 2 positives. Which way do we go when we're adding 2 positives? We go to the right. When you add positives, you go towards the positives. So from here, do I just go to +2? No, I'm going to do 2 jumps to the right. 1, 2. Yep, we could start singing too. To the right, to the right. No, we won't. And it lands right here. Wherever you land, that is your answer, which is -3. All right? Are you starting to get it? It's okay if you're not. Just going to do some more practice. Last one we're doing together. -4 plus 6. Here's your counters. 4 negatives, 6 positives. How many 0 pairs? 1. Those are opposites. You add opposites. It equals 0, 0, 0, 0. They canceled out. What's left? +2. Let's do this on the number line. Start at 0. Where do you go first? The first number. So you're going to the left because it's negative. 4 negatives. Then from here, what do you do? Add 6 positives. So that means we're going to go which direction? To the right, because we're adding positives. We go to the positive side. From here, we're going to make 6 jumps. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, you see where our 0 pair is? 0 pairs are 4, 5, 6. Where do we land? Right here at +2, just like we got with the counters. So again, here, this little area right here, the -4, right? You push back 4, and then you gain 4 yards. That's where your 0 is. It canceled out. But then, look, you got 2 extra yards. So that's how we end up at +2. Now it is your turn. And yes, you're going to do all 3 of these with the counters and the number line. You need to practice both because this is new information. And so good practice will help you really, really fully understand it. So you're going to pause the video, do these 3 problems, counters and number line. Then when you're done, press play and the quiz questions will pop up. So go ahead and press pause. All right. Remember, you want to make sure you are also writing down what did you notice about these problems when you were adding 2 numbers that had different signs on the number line. You were going 2 different ways. How did you know if your answer was going to end up being positive or negative? What are some things you noticed about the number line? Write those down in your notes, and then we'll go over it in class. So let's recap. In today's lesson, you learned how to add integers using number lines. It's a great job. Make sure you have your notes in your binder and bring your notes in your binder to class, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.